Now, the US dollar continues to strengthen against other currencies. The Japanese yen has dipped to record levels and it's touched 150 to the US dollar. So what does the rise of the US dollar mean for other currencies in the world and their economies too? That's what we're explaining today. Now, investors, businesses, central banks around the world, they're all closely watching the rise of the US dollar against other currencies. The US Federal Reserve has been raising interest rates to tame runaway inflation. A rising interest rate scenario in the US means that investors are more likely to park their funds in US dollars. This is among the main primary reasons why the US dollar is strengthening and other currencies are coming down, they are weakening. The value of the US dollar against a basket of other currencies, that is gauged by the US dollar index. In the year-to-date period, the dollar index has strengthened around 19%, while it has surged by 12% in a span of the last 6 months. The Japanese yen is among the worst performing currencies against the US dollar. The yen has lost almost 1/4 of its value in 2022 and it's close to 150 to the dollar, which means it is at its lowest since the year 1992. So the Japanese yen is among the worst performing currencies against the US dollar. The yen has lost almost 1/4 of its value in 2022 and it's close to 150 per dollar, which is the lowest point it's been at since that year. Now, other international currencies, they've also lost considerable value against the US dollar. The euro has fallen below $1, and this is for the first time in a span of 20 years. The British pound is now close to 1 to the US dollar after Britain's new Prime Minister Liz Truss announced tax cuts that sent the country's financial markets into turmoil. The Indian rupee, on its part, has fared fairly better than the euro and the British pound after the RBI intervened to arrest the free fall of the domestic currency. But Citi and Barclays predict that the RBI may loosen its grip on the Indian rupee now and predict that the Indian rupee may fall to 85 rupees against the US dollar. But what are the implications of a strengthening US dollar? A rising US dollar is bad for the global economy, and this is in a number of ways. It makes imports more expensive for other countries, which means that taming inflation becomes that much harder, especially for emerging economies like India. It also affects corporates who borrow in US dollars. Companies will now have to make more profits in their local currency to pay back those US denominated loans. And the central banks around the world are forced to raise their interest rates to keep their currency stable against the US dollar. So when borrowing rates go up, it weakens economic growth for these countries. And if you're wondering how this is going to affect you and me, the consumer, then simply put, you will be paying more for fuel and many other products across the board, more than we did ever before.